वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. I will decide the verse now. Sattvam rajastamaiti prakritirgunaste yukta parapurusha ekaihash dhatte Sdayadaye harivirincha hareti sangya Shreyamsi tatra khalu sattvatano nrinamshu. This is the only verse we come in this set of verses which is not Anushtup Chanda, which is like normally how we recite most of the verses in Bhagavad Gita. But Bhagavatam we get I think 4 or 5 different types of chandas. Some devotees also recite this in the way we also chant the Brahma Samhita. Sattvam rajastama iti prakritir gunaste yukta para purusha ekaiha cha dhatte sitadaye harivarincha hareti sangya shreyamsi tatra khalu sattvatano nirnamshu. I'm not the best one. Yeah, this is what I've seen devotees chanting. Okay, so word by word translation and purport by word translation in English word and then translation of the verse and the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sattvam, goodness, Rajaha, passion, Tamaha, the darkness of ignorance, Iti, thus, Prakriti, of the material nature, Gunaha, qualities, Tai, by them, Yuktaha, associated with, Paraha, transcendental, Purushaha, the personality, Ekaha, one, Iha Asya, of this material world, Dhatte, accepts, Sthiti Adaye, for the matter of creation, maintenance and destruction, etc. Hari, Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. Virinchi, Brahma. Hara, Lord Shiva. Iti, thus. Samgya, different features. Shreyamsi, ultimate benefit. Tatra, therein. Khalu, of course. Sattva, goodness. Tanoho, form. Nrinam, of the human being. Shu, derived. Yes, Prabhupada is so much painstakingly he has done this word by word translation, synonyms. I have not, I've seen some other translations of other scriptures, Puranas, by the other author, but I have not seen, rarely seen anyone doing this, word by word translation in English. It's just Prabhupada's efforts are amazing, how much he's given us. And also he established, his Bhagavad Gita translation purports and Bhagavatam and all the books that he's done as it is, right? So that the words are very clear. And for us devotees also, it is important. And at least we try to read through the synonyms and try to understand word by word as well. This is the sincere study of Srimad Bhagavatam, as devotees explain us. Translation: the transcendental personality of Godhead is indirectly associated with the three modes of material nature, namely passion, goodness, and ignorance. And just for the material world's creation, maintenance, and destruction, he accepts the three qualitative forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Of these three, all human beings can derive ultimate benefit from Vishnu, the form of the quality of goodness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It's a long purport. Would anyone like to read this purport? It's only one para, so maybe one devotee can read it. There's so many of you read so nicely, so I'd rather ask you to read.
Shall I, Prabhu?
Please, Mother.
Is it possible to make the font a bit larger? Haribol. That's not. Oh. The Lord Sri Krishna, by his plenary parts, should be rendered devotional service as explained above, is confused by this statement. Lord Sri Krishna and all his plenary parts are Vishnu Tattva, or the Lordship of Godhead. From Sri Krishna, the next manifestation is Baladev. From Baladev in Sankarsan, and from Sankarsan is Narayan. And from Narayan, there is the second Sankarsana. And from this Sankarsan, the Vishnu Purusa avatars, from this, the Vishnu Purusha avatars. The Vishnu are the deity of the quality of goodness in the material world is the Purusha avatar, known as Krirodaskatsai Vishnu or Paramatma. Brahma is the deity of Rajas, passion, and Shiva of ignorance. They are the three departmental heads of the three qualities of this material world. Creation is made possible by Brahma's quality of passion and his endeavor. It is maintained by the goodness of Vishnu. And when it requires to be destroyed, Lord Shiva does it by the Tandavartiya.
So this is dance. This is
okay. Hare Krishna. The materialists of the foolish human beings worship Brahma and Shiva respectively, but the pure transcendentalists worship the form of goodness. Vishnu in his various forms. Vishnu is manifested by his millions of billions of integrated forms and separated forms. The integrated forms are called Godhead, and the separated forms are called the living entities or the jivas. Both the jivas and Godhead have their original spiritual forms. Jivas are sometimes subjected to the control of material energy, but the Vishnu forms are always controllers of the energy. When Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, appears in the material world, he comes to deliver the conditioned living beings who are under the material energy. Such living beings appear in material world with intentions of being lords, and thus they become entrapped by the three modes of nature. As such, the living entities have to change their material coverings for undergoing different terms of imprisonment. The prison of a kalpa, the whole thing is destroyed by Shiva. But as far as maintenance of the prison, sorry, I missed something. Have I? Sorry.
I think yes, sorry.
Sorry. Okay, where was I?
Start from here, the prison house.
The prison house of the material world is created by Brahma on the instruction of this personality of Godhead. And at the conclusion of a kalpa, the whole thing is destroyed by Shiva. But as far as maintenance of the prison house is concerned, it is done by Vishnu. And much as the state prison house is maintained by the state, anyone, therefore, who wishes to get out of the prison house of material existence, which is full of miseries like repetition of birth, death, disease, and old age, must please Lord Vishnu for such liberation. Lord Vishnu is worshipped by devotional service only. And if anyone has to continue prison life in the material world, he may ask for relative facilities for temporary relief from the different demigods like Shiva, Brahma, Indra, and Varuna. No demigod, however, can release the imprisoned soul being from the conditioned life of material existence. This can be done only by Vishnu. Therefore, the ultimate benefit may be derived from Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. Sorry, Prabhu, the font was very small for my present glasses. Sorry.
Sorry, I could not make it any larger than this, and the screen was not fitting in.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Okay, very nicely written. Thank you, Jolly Mataji. Hare Krishna. So,
Hare Krishna.
We will now discuss this verse. Before that, we will chant our Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sakarjatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Se He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yatripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. All the devotees assembled here on this Monday evening. Yesterday we had a grand festival of Ram Navami everywhere, in all the temples, in all the houses. It's nice. And today at 8:40, Mamta Mataji will be singing Ramdhun. So we will finish at 8:40 sharp. And so we have roughly 25 minutes where we will try to understand this beautiful purport from Srila Prabhupada. In this one purport, he is given everything the problem and the solution, and all the details that's possible. It's only one paragraph, and there's so much in here. It's amazing. All the knowledge that anyone needs to understand the situation of the current, the world, the material world, our own situation, and the confusion, and also how to get out of this confusion and get to the real state. Everything is in here. So we'll go a little bit sentence by sentence, and then we'll have a little discussion. That Lord Sri Krishna, by his plenary parts, should be rendered devotional service as explained above is confirmed by this statement. So this is the translation. It's established that of all these three, so Krishna takes different types of avatars. Purusha avatar, which is the Karanodakshai, Garbhodakshai, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu. And there is different Leela avatars, and there is Guna avatars. Guna means the moods. The Guna avatars are the three qualitative forms, which are called Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And Krishna is the source of all this incarnation, as we will progress towards the verse. And Lord Krishna and all his plenary parts are, his parts, but they are the same as him, Vishnu Tattva. And this is how it's explained in the Brahma Samhita, just like there is the first lamp. From that one lamp, many other lamps are lighted. So the first lamp is Lord Sri Krishna in terms of Vishnu Tattvas. So they are called Vishnu Tattva, or the Lordship of Godhead. From Sri Krishna, sorry, I have to mute some devotees. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yes. So from Sri Krishna, the next manifestation is Baladev. So from Krishna, Baladev appears. Balaram, Baladev. From Baladev is Sankarshan. From Sankarshan is Narayan. So from Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, like that. So there are 4 Chaturvyas, we say, and then the second Chaturvya. From Sankarshan is Narayan, and from Narayan there is the second Sankarshan. And from this Sankarshan, the Vishnu Purusha avatars. So there is a very detailed discussion of all these different incarnations within Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also some information given in the Brahma Samhita, some beginning prayers. This requires a seminar by itself. I'm sure some devotees will organize someday. The Vishnu, or the deity of the quality of goodness in the material world, is the Purusha avatara known as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu or Paramatma. So as we were saying before, of the 3 Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu or Karanodakshaya Vishnu, from him comes the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. From the lotus navel of the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Lord Brahma appears. And then Kshirodakshaya Vishnu enters into every Jiva as Paramatma, every atom. Vishnu means one which is Sarva Vyapi, which is all pervading. Brahma is the deity of Rajas, passion, and Shiva of ignorance. So this just need to be a little bit clear on this. So they are not in passion, or they are the deity. They are doing this as a service. So, but they are like department heads. So sometimes the confusion happens whether Lord Shiva is in ignorance or Brahma is in passion. No. They have taken the charge of his duties, and that's how they become the department head, as Prabhupada explained in the next statement. They are the 3 departmental heads of the 3 qualities of this material world. This material world has 3 qualities: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And Lord expands on all these 3 forms, and he personally takes over the goodness, the mode of goodness, the Sattva. Creation is made possible by Brahma's quality of passion and his endeavor. So passion means some creation, some some endeavor, some effort, some activities. That's why without the activities, without the passion, without the endeavor, creation is not possible. And creation is ultimately our living entities or jiva's desire, which is being facilitated by the devotees of the Lord in his own expansion as the good avatars. So that's Lord Brahma creation. Is the secondary creator, Brahma. Primary creator is Lord Krishna himself. So it is maintained by the goodness of Vishnu. So Lord himself enters into every tattva, every atom, every living entity, and he maintains. Because he is within the heart of every living entity, within every atom, he knows what is desired by the living entities or the jivas and what they deserve. So he manages all that. The most difficult part is maintenance. Anything, I mean, even if we take in our own lives, we see that to start something, we make a start, like beginning of the year, we'll make some commitments, some vows. Okay, that's some bit of creation. Maybe we want to start this, to start reading Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, or start this and start that. And then it gets quickly destroyed by one or the other reason. But to maintain that persistently is the most difficult part. I think most will agree to that. Many organizations, although they can start, and how many of them remain successful is those which are maintained successfully. So in all spheres of life, the maintenance is the most difficult. And our own spiritual life as well. So we can, we get into that. This is all transcendental. The spiritual life is transcendental, but even in that aspect, we get attracted by the other devotees, by their various qualities, kindness, knowledge, so many other aspects of a devotee, and love. And we start off on the journey, and then the fun begins when we try to maintain, like every day, maintain our sadhana is difficult. The Lord Vishnu is the maintainer of the goodness. We'll discuss it more. Lord Shiva does it by Tandava Nritya. Tandava Nritya is called, this is a term when towards a dissolution, Lord Shiva performs this Tandav dance of Lord Shiva, which brings the destruction of the material world. And and then the creation starts again. So every day Lord Brahma is creating, and by the end of the day, the destruction happens. In between, the maintenance is there. And then again, following in the night of the Brahma, all the living entities go back into the womb of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And there are 3 levels of dissolution. That can be discussed. We'll carry on. The materialist and the foolish human beings worship Brahma and Shiva respectively. That's interesting how Prabhupada has put this. Respectively means so this is matching the 2 attributes. So materialists are worshipping Brahma. Anyone can give example of who worship Brahma? The materialists. That comes in our discussions many times from Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hiranyakashipu.
Yes, thank you. And his brother Hiranyakashipu. They worship Brahmaji. And because they desire, Hiranyakashipu literally meaning is bed of gold. So he wanted a special benediction. And he tried his best to get a special benediction to become immortal. But Brahmaji could not give him the immortality. So then he said, okay, I can't give you immortality because that can only be given by Lord Vishnu or Krishna. That's why his name is Mukunda. And as the story goes on, but he gets destroyed. And Shiva, Lord Shiva is, we have a prime example of Lord Shiva who worshipped Lord Shiva.
Is that Ravana, Prabhuji?
Ravana, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, very recent. Yesterday we celebrated Ram Navami. We discussed so many different pastimes, Lord Ram. Yeah, so that's and foolish like pride. He was so proud. Pride is foolishness. When we don't understand, anyone doesn't understand who is the greatest, they become proud, and that's what the condition, Lord. So that's what the condition of Ram. So the pure transcendentalist worship the form of goodness, Vishnu, in his various forms. One story that comes in mind. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 89th chapter of Bhrigu Rishi. Does anyone know the story of Bhrigu Rishi? What happened there? Something related to this to establish the...
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
If I'm remembering right, the Bhrigu Rishi was, the old rishis wanted to know who is the mode of goodness, yeah?
Yeah, please take.
And the Bhrigu Rishi just went to Lord Brahma, and he started, saying too many things to him, bad things. And Lord Brahma got very angry, and he chastised him, tell him off. And then he went to Lord Shiva, and he done the same thing to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva got very angry and told him off. Then he went to Lord Vishnu. Then he just stamped on his chest. Then Lord Vishnu said, "Oh my God, you just done that. It hurts your foot." He said, "It's so bad. I'm so sorry about that." So then he found out that Lord Vishnu is the best of all, because he did not get angry. Instead, he said that hurt your foot, not my chest, So that was that.
Yes.
That was, then he went back to all the sages and told them that Lord Vishnu is the best of all.
Yes.
Goodness, mode of goodness.
Yes. That's in Bhagavatam. And so Bhrigu Rishi, in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says all the rishis, Bhrigu, his name is also given. Very great faith. And as
he was son of Brahma.
Yeah. The son of Brahma, yes. So you're right. So when he went to Lord Brahma, he did not show any respect. No, the culture is to do the obeisances and say some prayers of glorification, but he did not follow all that. He just went there and without showing any respect. Lord Brahma was angry. How can you do this?
And he was father as well, the
father,
son.
Yeah, as a son, he was not showing any respect, not speaking any kind words. So that Lord Brahma got angry with him, and then he went to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva is his elder brother, and he started Lord Shiva. As soon as he reached, Lord Shiva's Kailash, and in front of Lord Shiva straight away got up and tried to embrace him, and Bhrigu Rishi says, "Oh." He speaks so many, unacceptable words.
Yes.
Lord Shiva, say, "Don't touch me."
You are this and that, yeah.
And he's full of this ash. And Lord Shiva wanted to kill him with his trident, and Mother Parvati stopped him and said, "No, don't kill. He's the Brahmana. He's your brother. Don't kill." But somehow Lord Shiva was, pacified. And when Bhrigu Rishi went to, as Mataji was explaining, Lord Vishnu is just if we compare, in the first instance, for Lord Brahma, he did not show any respect. And the second instance, he said some insulting words. So one, it was pretty much, the mental, the second was with the words. When the third scenario, the action was so harsh, like kicking the Lord in the chest. It's inconceivable. And what was Lord's response? Lord says, he said, first of all, he offers him, "You please take a seat. We're so glad that you come here. Your presence is so auspicious. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. My chest is so hard and your feet are so soft. He must have hurt you so much, and he wanted to massage his feet. This is the extreme tolerance of Lord Vishnu. And that's why he immediately established, yes, Lord Vishnu is the greatest. Yes, amazing pastime. Yes, so this is, then we'll carry on. Vishnu is manifest by his millions and billions of integrated forms and separated forms. So integrated forms are all Vishnu Tattvas, and the different expansions. Again, that's a conversation from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Vinamsha and Swamsha, and there are many different varieties of incarnations. And the separated forms are the living entities, both, and also the material world. The forms are more relevant for the living entities. The integrated forms are called Godhead, and the separated forms are called the living entities or the Jivas. Both the Jivas and Godhead have their original spiritual forms. So Jivas, when we are here in the material world, we covered with the material layers, but we have our own spiritual form. Every living entity has his or her own whatever spiritual form. Jivas are sometimes subjected to the control of material energy, but the Vishnu forms are always controllers of this energy. So that's the differentiating factor between Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva. Jiva Tattva are, as we were discussing before, it's a marginal energy, and they can be controlled by the moods of material nature or the Maya Devi, and that's why, and this is their choice. The beautiful thing is, this is the desire of the Jiva, their free will that works, whether they want to go this side or the other side. That's why they're like the Tatastha on the margin. They can choose. When Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, appears in the material world, he comes to deliver the conditioned living beings. When Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, appears in the material world, he comes to deliver the conditioned living beings who are under the material energy. So there are three reasons why Lord appears. One is to establish dharma, to vinashaya cha dushkritam, to annihilate the miscreants, and also dharma samsthapanarthaya, and also paritranaya sadhunam. So establish or reclaim his devotees, all the living beings who can be attracted to him, who should be attracted to him. Not everyone gets attracted, but whoever gets attracted, they get delivered. Such living beings appear in the material world with intentions of being lords. In one lecture, I think it was Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj was speaking that all of us want to be a little Brahmas. That's why we want to lord over the material. That's why we appear here. And they get entrapped by the three modes of nature. As such, the living entities have to change their material coverings for undergoing different terms of imprisonment. Now, this is very interesting. Few sentences will begin here. The living entities, desiring to lord over the material nature, they get entrapped, and then they get different material coverings. Sad, asad, yoni, janmashu. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, Purusha prakrite stohi, bhungte prakrite jan guna, karanam guna sangasya, sat asat yoni janmashu. So this is one place. Most of the places Purusha means Lord himself. He is the only Purush. We are all Prakriti. But in that context, it is said that the Purusha, the Jiva, thinking himself to be the Purusha or the enjoyer, Bhungte Prakriti Janguna, Karanam Guna Sangasya, because of his association with the gunas. The gunas is the three modes or the qualities, different qualities. He gets entrapped, and then he changes Sat Asad Yoni Janmashu. Sat and Asad, like good or bad or auspicious, inauspicious, different words explaining that, and goes through the cycle of birth and death. And so every term, every imprisonment is like body, the different bodies a jiva gets, and to enjoy different aspects of material nature. It is said that the 8.4 million types of species or living entities, and this 8.4 million is created with the combination of only these three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tama. 3 times 3, like there's some calculation, 9 and 80 when it comes to that kind of figure. But the main thing is that every type of living entity has a particular aspect of enjoying the material nature, which is highest in that body. So different entities get different bodies, and that body, that particular aspect of combination modes enjoys the maximum. So the Lord is facilitating the desires of the living entities, and living entities, the jivas, are just going like a machine from here to there. Yantra Rodani Maya, Krishna explained in the 18th chapter. So this is the journey of jiva, who is supposed to be with Krishna, always, in bliss, in all knowledge, wants to lord over the material nature, but he cannot lord over the material nature unless there is this aspect of false ego, which means he is understanding that he is the Purusha, he is the enjoyer. Unless that enjoyer, ahankar, or the false ego is not established within the living entity, or not covering the living entity's consciousness, living entity or jiva cannot enjoy. So that is the gift that we get to be able to enjoy here. A prison house So, the prison house of the material world is created by Brahma under instruction of the personality of Godhead. And yeah, this is the other aspect I was saying before. So what happens with this is the end. Brahma is he's like our Sampradaya Acharya. Like Sampradaya is the starting. So we have Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya, following on the lines of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so Lord Brahma is the greatest that can happen in a jiva body. So he's the greatest jiva. And the greatest jiva obviously is a great devotee of the Lord. A great devotee of Lord always works in conjunction with the Supreme Lord. So here it says the prison house of the material world is created by Brahma under instruction of the personality of Godhead. So the Lord gives, Krishna gives the knowledge to Brahma to how to create this material world. Lord Brahma cannot create by himself, so he performs tapasya, and then he gets the knowledge from Krishna. It's already 40, so I'm going to quickly go through. And the conclusion of a kalpa, so this is the aspect that we need to understand is everything is because we desire to be away from the Lord. Because we desire to lord over the material nature, we get this. And all the facilities are being created by Krishna in conjunction with his devotees, Brahma and Lord Shiva, and all the other demigods who are heads of the different aspects of the material nature. But it is the whole purpose that this setting is created to fulfill our desires. This is the most beautiful part. It is not his fault. Some people say it's his fault. It's God's fault. There's all the problems in the world. No, it is our fault. We wanted to be here. And now we're enjoying reaping the fruits of our, misutilizing our willpower, as Krishna, as Prabhupada explains. At the end of conclusion of a kalpa, the whole thing is destroyed by Lord Shiva, because this is, at some stage, it gets beyond repair. So this has to be destroyed to be able to create once again. So that's the service that Lord Shiva does. But now the instruction part starts. But as far as the maintenance of the prison house is concerned, it is done by Vishnu, as much as the state prison house is maintained by the state. So Vishnu as Paramatma, sitting in everyone's heart, fulfilling everyone's desire to the extent they deserve and desire, and that goes on. Anyone, therefore, who wishes to get out of this prison house of material existence, which is full of miseries like repetition, birth, death, disease, and old age, must please Lord Vishnu for such liberation. This is the knowledge. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha, Doshanu, Darshanam. This is one aspect of knowledge that says in the 15th chapter. So once someone gets this understanding by somehow coming in contact with the devotees of the Lord, Kono Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai, Bhakti Latha Bij. Brahmanda Bhramite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev. So in this cycle of birth and death, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani, Jatare Shayyam. In this repetition of birth and death and disease and old age and constantly rotating in the world, somehow a devotee a living entity gets in contact with the Lord, and he gets this knowledge that how do you get out of this prison. And Lord Vishnu is worshipped by devotional service only. And so if we want to be out of this material prison, the key is with Lord Vishnu. He is the only one who can give us the liberation. And this is accepted by everyone. Lord Vishnu is the only giver of liberation. That's why it's called, one of his name is Mukunda, giver of liberation. And if anyone has to continue prison life in the material world, now again, this is our will, our sweet will, what we want to do, but somehow we want to hang around here. You know, the story of Indra, like he was cursed to become a pig. And then in one lifetime, and then it was time for him to get back when he was told by Lord Brahma, okay, now I think your imprisonment is over. You can get to your original position and you know, manage the Swargaloka. And guess what Indra says? No, how can I go now? I have the family to manage, all these children, the wife. How can I go? I'm not ready. I need to sort out all this. I'm happy here, eating, you know, all the dirty things. This is the condition. So if someone is still adamant, stay in this temporary, stay in the material world, he may ask for some temporary relief, like, okay, get too much problem with this and that. Okay, so in one way or the other, the karma kandis, they perform different types of karma yagyas, karma kandas to get some benefit here and there, get some dhanam dehi or some fame or whatever else to be required. But Mahaprabhu says, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janamani janamani bhakta bhavati rahetu kitoi. So unmotivated devotional service is what is required, Mahaprabhu says. No demigod, however, can release the imprisoned living being from the conditioned life of material existence. So people can worship the other demigods, but the end result will be again birth, death, disease, and old age. Brahma bhuna loka punaravartino arjuna. So even to the extent of Brahma loka, there is no relief. They still have to come back. But liberation from this conditioned life, from this prison house, can only be done by Lord Vishnu. Therefore, the ultimate benefit may be derived from Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. But one thing to note here is, 5 more minutes and then we can go. To come to the worship of Lord Vishnu, what is required? Because Lord Vishnu is in mode of goodness. He is in charge of goodness. So if we want to deal with someone, for example, in that office, we have to go in that office. And if we have to deal with Lord Vishnu, or we want to please Lord Vishnu, we have to come to the stage of quality of goodness. That's our effort to get to the quality of goodness. So Prabhupada has given the simple methods of chanting Hare Krishna mantra and the 4 regulative principles, which is no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. These 4 rules which Prabhupada has given us to follow And then there is do's, there's the don'ts, and there's do's. Do's is chanting of the holy name. So when we chant the holy names in the right time. So again, the whole aspect of goodness, we don't have enough time today. So, how to get oneself to the goodness, you can refer Bhagavad Gita chapter 17. It says all the three types, yajna, tapa, dana, all the sacrifices that we do, and all the austerities that we perform of the mind, body, and words, the truth that we speak, everything, how we can get to the stage of mode of goodness. And then beyond goodness, obviously, from there we want to get to the Vishuddha Sattvas, which has been the topic of discussion for a few weeks. From starting this 22nd until 29th, in this chapter, it will be established that of all the worships, Lord Krishna's worship is the highest, and that's what we should be all doing to get out of this existence of temporary material body, always subjected to this destruction. And all the problems are solved by this purification process, following the four regulative principles, chanting the holy names attentively. So it's very common that we see lots of, as we say, okay, we've been chanting for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. But what really makes the difference is the attentive chanting. Attentively chanting means speaking the Lord's names and hearing Lord's names are not different from the Lord himself. And that hearing process of the Lord's names and pastimes, that brings the purification process of the body, the mind, and the intelligence in various ways. And in all situations, well, there's a short story, and then we can go to the bhajan. 1 minute. So there's this one devotee who was complaining about his, personal life is all in shambles. He's struggling a lot, and he says, Prabhu, okay, I don't know how to live with this other devotee. Don't know how to do this. Prabhupada's instruction was only one. Please attend Mangala Arati. Please chant in the morning. When you chant in the morning, somehow all the problems somehow disappear. No, they don't disappear, but our consciousness gets elevated, uplifted, and we see the problems differently, in the sense that we don't see any problem. We see an opportunity everywhere. And with that, chanting in the morning as much as we can, it brings us to that consciousness where we are in coherence with everything. We work just like Lord Brahma works in conjunction, so we get to that stage of thinking like Lord's devotees. And then there is no problem. There is no confusion, no conflicts when our sadhana is perfect and we are stated in the mode of goodness. And then we are connected with Vishnu, Lord Vishnu or Krishna. And once we're connected and we follow all the principles and the regulative principles, it becomes, the doors start to open after another. And obviously the key aspect is the association of devotees that is required to stay in that mode of goodness. And I think it's already 51.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Please, yes, Mataji.
Is there time for a quick question?
Yes, whatever. I think we can chant, we can recite. Mamta Mataji is prepared nicely, so we'll do the bhajan and then we will do the question.
Okay, just I don't want to forget it.
Yeah. Okay, so just write it down if that's okay.
Thank
you. Yes, so Mamta Mataji, you can sing now.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, are you able to share the lyrics on the screen, please?
Yes. Should I type what? People.
It's Pibare Rama Rasam.
Okay, I'll find it.
No, Mataji, can you share it, Mataji, to Prabhuji? Yeah. The link?
I can't share, unfortunately. Prabhuji might be able to get the lyrics, Mataji.
Yeah. So this is lyrics.
That might be a bit difficult, I think. That's why I chose that link. Mataji, maybe you could forward that to Prabhuji or something. Or Jyoti Mataji.
I got this. Is it? How many lines is it? Sorry, I'm just going to.
There are about 8. There are about 8, 4 verses, Prabhuji.
Okay. No.
I'll just share that thing to Jyoti Mataji. She might just maybe.
Okay.
Is this the one?
Let me see, Prabhuji.
Is this the one?
Just see the chat. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. I'll start, Prabhuji, or do you want the
Please
translation first? I'll start. Okay.
Yes, start.
Hare Krishna. This is a Lord Rama song, glorifying Lord Rama. So, Pibare Ramarasam, Pibare Ramarasam, Rasane Pibare Ramarasam, Pibare Ramarasam, Rasane Pibare Ramarasam, Pibare Ramarasam. दूरीकृत पातक संसर्गं पूरितनान विध फलवर्गं दूरीकृत पातक संसर्गं पूरितनान विध फलवर्गं पिबरे रामरसं रसने पिबरे रामरसं पिबरे रामरसं जनन मरण भय शोकविदूरं सकल शास्त्र निगमागमसारं जनन मरण भय शोकविदूरं सकल शास्त्र निगमागमसारं पिबरे रामरसं रसने पिबरे रामरसं पिबरे रामरसं परिपालित सरसिजगर्भाण्डं परम पवित्रीकृत पाषाण्डं परिपालित सरसिजगर्भाण्डं परम पवित्रीकृत पाषाण्डं पिबरे रामरसं रसने पिबरे रामरसं पिबरे रामरसं शुद्ध परमहंस आश्रमगीतं शुकशौनक कौशिकमुखपीतं शुद्ध परमहंस आश्रमगीतं शुकशौनक कौशिकमुखपीतं पिबरे ramarasam rasani pibare ramarasam pibare ramarasam 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 ramarasam. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for listening.
Wow, Mataji, I feel like clapping 100 million times. So amazing.
Very nice
Thank you,
bhajan.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank
And
you.
even the lyrics are also very beautiful in English.
Sorry, I didn't get the full lyrics, it seems. I don't know.
So Mataji
I
can
have-
read, I think.
Yes,
Mataji
I
has
have the lyrics.
Can you please
Thank
read
you.
the translation?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
The lyrics, the translation is, first of all, the title of the bhajan is Drink the Nectar of Rama, O connoisseur, drink the nectar of Rama. And the translation states, which removes the society of sinners and fills you up with the fruits of many types, which removes the fear and sorrow of death and birth, and which is the essence of all holy books, including Vedas, which is the egg that looks after Lord Brahma, and which makes you extremely pure, which is the pure music of sages in their ashram, and which can be heard from the face of sages like Shuka, Shaunaka, and Kaushika. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji, for the translation. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. It's Lord
Very
Shiva
beautiful.
says- Lord Shiva says to Balaram, Rama, Rama, Rameti.
Rame Ramana, Rame
Rame,
Rama Manorame,
Rame, Manorame.
Tatalya Kaushanyam,
Rama,
Rama
Nama,
Nama Manane.
So nice.
Thank you,
so
Prabhuji.
much.
Thank you so much.
Sir. Amazing. Yes, sorry. Probably we have 1 minute for question. Yeah, who had the question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
I was just a bit confused about is Krishna equal, is Lord Vishnu equal to Lord Krishna?
yeah, so this is like Lord Vishnu. Prabhupada explained very nice things. He says, when Krishna is in office, is Lord Vishnu. So the Yajnapati is Lord Vishnu. So Krishna is the from him everyone appears. So Krishna is the it's like this. Mahaprabhu says this is Achintya Bheda Veda, like they're one and different kind of, but there is no difference in that aspect. Krishna and Vishnu is the same. Krishna when he's in office, like he's in charge of the gunas, he takes position as Vishnu. But it's all his expansion, as we were reading in the purport, they are all plenary portions.
Yeah.
They are the same. But as I was saying before, in Brahma Samhita, it explains the first, there is from the lamp, from the one lamp, the other lamps are lit. All the lamps are the same, but the first lamp is Krishna. Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana, Karanam is Krishna Govinda. But they're the same.
So I wondered why we don't worship Lord Vishnu like we do Lord Chaitanya. Because it's, as you say, it's part,
Yeah,
part.
so this is no difference. So when we do yagyas, then we invite Lord Vishnu becomes the predominant deity. For Krishna is the sweet pastime that we have. So we establish the relationship with Krishna, as servant, as a friend, as a lover, as a parent, father, mother, like that. And that's the relationship that is created with Krishna. Krishna has all the sweet pastimes. So Krishna is the Etecham Sakalapamsha, Krishnastu Bhagavan Samayam. So Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And Lord Vishnu here, when in the context of this, the Guna Avataras, this discussion was in the context of Guna Avataras. So Krishna takes the form of, he expands himself to Baladev, and then we read from Baladev, Sankarshan appears, from Sankarshan again Narayan, and again Sankarshan, and then the Mahavishnu appears, and from Mahavishnu for the purpose of this material creation and maintenance and destruction, Lord takes the three guna avatars. They are the Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh or Shiva, like that. So this is in relation to the material creation. Vishnu is here. Once you are in the spiritual world, you are dealing with Krishna directly, or if you choose to go to Narayan, then there is awe and reverence. Depending on devotees, different moods, they choose different places. Lord Ram, Ayodhya, there's a spiritual world, Ayodhya. So there's different moods of the same Lord.
Very good. Thank you, Prabhuji, for explaining. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, devotees. Thank you so much. And Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.
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 Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Very good. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Vancha kalpatarubhasya Prabhuji.
Thank
Vacha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo
Namo
namaha.
Namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the beautiful
Very
class.
good.
Okay, Hari Bol.
you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, thank you.